Hi everyone, I'm Hasini Kure and this is my second video which I wish to publish on my page HMC Legal Academy. In my previous video, I dealt with the ingredients of an offense. So today I will be dealing with the 3 C's of the Actus Reus, which is a continuation of the lesson from the first video. So this time also, I would focus on the criminal law of UK. Now, I hope you all enjoyed my first video and you all understand the ingredients of an offense, which are the actus reus and the mens rea, which the prosecution must prove. Now, apart from this element of conduct in the actus reus, because we refer to the actus reus as the wrongful conduct. So apart from these elements, there are two other elements as well, which we will be studying today. Okay, so let's proceed to an analysis on the 3 C's of the actus reus. Now, these are called the 3 C's of the actus reus because all these words are starting with the letter C. So first of all, we have the conduct element of the actus reus. And then we have the circumstances or the circumstance. And then finally, we have consequences or the consequence. Now, I'm sure you're familiar with this conduct element because the actus reus is a reference to a wrongful conduct. Now, conduct is classified into either an act, which is a reference to a conscious voluntary movement of a muscle, or an omission, which is a reference to a failure to act. So that is what a conduct means. A conduct is either an act or omission, which is why in our previous video, we referred to the actus reus as a wrongful conduct. Now today you will see, apart from this element conduct, there is also another element of the actus reus, which is called circumstances. Now, circumstances is a reference to the circumstances which must exist for the offense to take place. And then finally, the other element of the actus reus is consequences or consequence. Now, consequences is a reference to the final result of an offense. When analyzing this element consequences, we come across these two crimes called conduct crimes and result crimes. In other words, as shown in this diagram, conduct crimes do not require the element of consequences because a conduct crime is a crime where the defendant is punished merely for the conduct. Now, an example of a conduct crime is perjury, where a person lies under an oath or gives a false statement. Now, in such a situation, the final result of such a false statement is not the concern. The concern is that the person, the defendant, made a false statement while under an oath. So merely for doing that, merely for that conduct, which could either be an act or an omission, the defendant is punished. So this consequences element does not have a relevancy when it comes to conduct crimes, but is very much relevant when it comes to result crimes. Now, from the word itself, you can see because consequences is a reference to the final result, it is connected with this type of crimes called result crimes. Now, with regard to the London LLB syllabus, nearly all of these offences that you will be studying will fall within the category of result crimes. For example, murder, theft, criminal damage, etc. Okay, so I hope you're clear as to the three C's of the Actus Reus, which are conduct, circumstances, and consequences. Now, to analyze this further, I will take you through an exercise where we will analyze an actual definition of an offense. Now, here we'll be dealing with the basic offense of criminal damage. Now, this offense of criminal damage, or the basic offense of criminal damage, is governed under Section 1, Subsection 1 of the Criminal Damage Act 1971. So, I will teach you how to go through a definition of an offense and spot the actus reus and the mens rea, and thereafter also spot the actus reus in the sense of conduct, circumstances, and consequences. Right, so let's read through this definition. It says, a person who, without lawful excuse, destroys or damages any property belonging to another, intending to destroy or damage any such property, or being reckless as to whether any such property would be destroyed or damaged, shall be guilty of an offense, meaning shall be guilty of this offense of criminal damage by virtue of Section 1, Subsection 1 of the Criminal Damage Act 1971. Now, when you come across such a statutory definition, you should be able to identify the actus reus elements and the mens rea elements. Now, when dealing with such an exercise, the easy way out is to first spot the mens rea in this definition. Now, if we take this definition into account, you can see now highlighted in green are the mens rea elements of this offense, which is intention or recklessness. Now, when we spot the mens rea, it's easy. Why? Because after that, we are left with the actus reus elements. So, we'll spot the mens rea, leave it out. So, whatever we are left with might be the actus reus, and then we can proceed to analyze the actus reus further. Now, with regard to the actus reus, the first actus reus element, as I stated before, is the conduct. So that means when you read this definition, you should be able to spot the conduct element, which can either be an act or an omission. But in this definition, the conduct element, as highlighted in blue, is the act of destroying or damaging. That means a defendant should engage in the conduct which is an act of destroying or damaging. Right. So that is the first element of the actus reus, the conduct element. Next, we have to proceed to the other C, which is the circumstance. So in this definition, we have only one circumstance, as highlighted in ash here. So the circumstance here is the fact that the property must belong to another. So that means when the defendant is engaging in this conduct, which is the act of destroying or damaging, this property must belong to someone other than the defendant. That's why it says the fact that property must belong to another. Now we have the conduct element, the circumstance, and now we'll proceed to the consequence, which is the final result. Highlighted in yellow here is the resultant damage or destruction. That is the resultant damage or destruction to the property. So that is what finally happens when a person commits the offense of criminal damage. So you can see we have analyzed the whole definition here except for, now in this definition you'll see there is also a word called lawful excuse. Now that is a reference to a defense. So we have a hidden defense contained in the definition of the offense itself. Why? Because when it says a person who without lawful excuse, that hints at the fact that lawful excuse is a defense to this offense of criminal damage. Now, we will not find a defense in every definition of an offense, but in this instance, there is also a defense contained in this definition as well. So going through this exercise, you will be able to spot the mens rea of this offense. Leave that out because whatever you will be left with might be the actus reus, apart from, of course, the defense of lawful excuse. So then you can spot the conduct, which can either be an act or omission. In this instance, the act of destroying or damaging. And then the circumstance or the circumstances. In this instance, there is one circumstance. That is the fact that the property must belong to another. And then the final result is the resultant damage or destruction to this property. So that is how we take a statutory definition and analyze the actus reus and mens rea elements and further analyze the actus reus into conduct, circumstances, and consequences. So you can try this out by taking more statutory definitions and doing some exercises on your own. And you can work it out to try and spot the mens rea, then the actus reus elements as well. So I hope you are clear as to the 3 C's of the actus reus, which are conduct, circumstances, and consequences. So I will see you all again soon in another video. Please feel free to like my page HMC Legal Academy as well as subscribe my YouTube channel. Thank you everyone.